I want to tell you that Larry Dossey affected my life. It was either in 78 or 79, that long ago, and he doesn't know this story. I'm going to tell him right now. I was new out into the world of trying to teach this. I started doing that in 77, and it was either 78 or 79. I was invited to teach at Asilomar, and most people didn't know who I was. And I had a little class, and I was teaching every day. And every day the class grew until on the last day, it was a whole week, they let the whole conference come to my class, and they put me out on the field. And so there was 1,200 people that came, and somebody, right within about 15 minutes before I was going to teach, and I didn't have any, I wasn't scared or anything, but somebody came up to me. You know how this can happen? They said, "You'd better have some facts. There's a lot of doctors in this class." And I went, "Oh God, facts? Facts?" And I sat down on a boulder to do a Wayne Cook posture, and right on that boulder, somebody had left a little booklet, and it was by Larry Dossey. And I thought, and it said MD, and I thought, maybe I'll find a fact. I didn't find a fact, but I opened it like a tarot deck, and there he was talking about energy on that page. And I thought, all right, he's a doctor. I let it all go, and I went out and taught. and then probably 5 or 6 years ago, I finally met Larry, and I thought, I knew he was going to be at the conference, and I thought, you know, I just expected to see a doctor. I realized I'd never seen a picture of him or anything. And so I was talking to this great guy, and then somebody came up and said, "Oh, Donna, have you met Larry Dossey?" And that's who I was talking to, and I thought, oh my God, he was not like, you know, what you think of as a doctor at all. Not at all, but it thrilled me. And
Larry, in this culture, that's a compliment.
Yeah. And, you know, he was I loved his voice, and he's handsome, and a whole lot of things. You will like him so much. So that's my introduction.
How many other physicians are here? Okay, sorry. Yeah, okay, great. Okay, a few. So, Larry, you know, on the opening evening, we talked about how medicine, in some ways, has gotten more rigid in its paradigms, more rigid in its worldview over the years as it's been confronted in so many different ways by cultural forces. It's kind of pulled in. Well, there have also been forces to expand it. There have also been forces that have been giving medicine a more expansive paradigm, a more appropriate paradigm, and one of the voices from within the medical community that has been doing that for decades is Larry Dossey. And Larry has been very courageous, and there are two ways that he has really, really impacted our worldview within medicine. And one of them is that he has brought a mind-body perspective into medicine. You know, we hear that long word, that long word, psychoneuroimmunology, okay? And that, you know, Larry was a pioneer in that whole perspective. And he, you know, it takes a lot of courage. I mean, one of the reasons I love the physicians that come here is that it's the physicians who are really the ones that get shot at the most for championing an alternative perspective. And so that's why we so love the physicians that are part of our community. because we don't want to be shot at. But we're not shot at simply because we're not taken seriously enough. We know that it is coming. But in 1995, Larry started a journal called Alternative Therapies in Health and Medicine. And that journal really was the first place where a serious voice was peer-reviewed. It had a prestigious board of directors, or of editors. It was really excellent. And one of, you have these different career milestones where you kind of feel like, okay, I've accomplished something. You get your bachelor's degree, and then you get your advanced degree, and then you get license, and then there's different ways that you have these little milestones. And one of the most important ones to me that I treasure was that in his opening editorial for the journal, he quoted me about 3 paragraphs that I had written, and I just felt so honored by that. I was so deeply honored by that. And then, when Donna and I wrote 6 Pillars of Energy Medicine, there was no place that had prestige that would publish it except that journal. And we're so grateful that that journal existed at that time. Now that the mission of that journal has gotten larger, so it's now 2 journals, and Larry's gone off with one that is called Explore, which is also very cutting edge. And so I said that there's 2 things that Larry has done, and the first is expanding the field to appreciate mind and spirit, and looking at how prayer has really made a difference in people's health. So that when he started, there were 3 medical schools that had some form of spirituality being taught in them. And now there are more than 80 that have spirituality or religion or prayer being part of the medical school curriculum, which is amazing. And this is not a curriculum that shifts easily. Then in having that mind and spirit perspective, he started to recognize that the mind is not limited to the brain, that there is a much larger story going on when we look at consciousness, when we look at the human journey. And so this concept that in 2 words is the non-local mind. And he has been a champion now of that concept. And that, of course, ties into not only mind and spirituality and energy. It changes the whole perspective, what Sean was talking about yesterday, how we're all connected. And so the connections are in the body, mind, soul, and community. And so that's what he's going to be focusing on today, is to really help us to understand how all of that works. And we are just so honored that, Larry is speaking everywhere all the time. And we are so honored that he has accepted our invitation to speak with what for him is a small group. And we're just drink in every word. So Larry, thank you so much.